What's up, peeps? So, you ever wonder what is my true potential? What does it take for me to get to really doing what God is calling me to do for my life, to my purpose, the meaning in life, the things that God has called me to do? What can get in the way? So, in this video, I'm going to explain the five biblical situations or biblical truths or biblical ideas, thoughts, processes, whatever that can self sabotage or sabotage your destiny. So sometimes it could be technology. It could be lack of whatever they may be too as well. So um let me just share. It's crazy. For the last 20 minutes, I've been trying to get my screen share prepared. Some really amazing slides for you guys that are on Canva, all pretty and whatnot. And the share feature on StreamYard, there's one button to get to the bottom that says how to share the document. And for some reason, I cannot get there. It's like right at the bottom of the screen, but it won't show up. I've shrunk my screen. I've done whatever. So anyway, we're gonna be a little ghetto-rific with it today, guys, because I'm gonna have to show you my slides from my phone on Canva instead of being on the screen like I so planned for you guys for several days now. So let me give a little backstory. So this last weekend, I was out in Dallas. My wife and I were celebrating our 21st wedding anniversary. And we're out there and got the chance to see Myron Golden, one of my key mentors in my life. And out in Tampa, we didn't get the chance to meet him this time because our son's graduation was the same week of his event. Just so happens he came out to his mentor out here in Dallas, which is about 3.5, 4 hours from us. So we decided to take a ride up there, celebrate, and have dinner with some friends and kick it and do those things, but also attend this event that was about generational wealth and family, creating a family business around farming businesses as well as looking at trading and whatnot. So anyhow, that was the whole mission there. Met some really cool people, some good connections, some God ordained appointments. All those things went into place. But while I was there, one of the guys, Dave Huber, was presenting. And you know how you read the Bible and you may have heard or seen the scriptures come to life in some form or fashion, but there's some things someone brought a different aspect or a different viewpoint. And so with that, Dave was talking about the story of Moses and just really looking at the conversation that he was having with God. And so it's hard for me to actually, now that I hear it, Moses had this whining voice, and I just don't like whining. I want to annihilate and eradicate and abolish weakness from the face of the earth. That is one of my missions. I can't stand weakness, and of course, whining are the words of weakness. You're gonna hear it, and so I can remember when I really started looking at Gideon, and Gideon's conversation with God was really a bunch of whining too. Yeah, but God, I'm just the smallest, and I'm like, ooh, it just drives me crazy to hear all that kind of that whining or whatnot. And the more I heard this conversation with Moses, he was kind of doing the same thing. He was whining to God in regards to his calling. And so, give a little backstory of how this goes in there is that Moses was at the this is coming from Exodus chapter 3 and 4. So Moses was having his encounter with God. He basically looking at Exodus chapter 3, and he's having this encounter with God, his calling at the burning bush. So he was actually farming the land and being in the area on his father-in-law Jethro's land, and he came across this bush that was on fire, being consumed by the fire but not being burned. And so it obviously drew him in, the fire, the light in our lives are the things that draw folks into Christ. And so it drew him into it. And he basically, God said, take your slippers off, dog. You don't hold the ground. So he comes and acknowledges God in this particular situation. But when we're looking at it, looking at what are the five biblical beliefs that can sabotage your destiny. So there's 5 points that Dave brought out, and that I can see the parallels in my own life. I can see the parallels in the guys that I coach, and you probably can see some of the parallels in yourself. And what Moses was, his unbelief. It's kind of one of those I believe but help my unbelief kind of scenarios and situations. So I'm going to read a little backdrop in here to get us there from verse 7. So I'm reading from New King James Bible in here, Exodus 3, verse 7. So it said, "And the Lord said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and I have heard their cries because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. So I've come down to deliver them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up from that land to a good and large land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hittites and the Jebusites. Excuse me. Now, therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with the Egyptians oppress them. Come now, this is where he gets his calling. Moses gets his assignment right here. Come now, therefore, I will send you to Pharaoh, and you may bring my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. So here's a situation where he cannot deny the presence of God. He can't deny what's going on. He sees it and he hears the voice of God. The angel that says the angel of the Lord spoke, and he addressed himself. I'm the father of Jacob, Isaac, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. I'm the father. He goes in the whole giving all his credentials before that. And so here's where Moses is. Moses is at this point of, okay, I got an assignment, and he goes through this whole part of who am I to go through these kind of things. Are you really sure, God? And he's questioning God about of his assignment, but he knows that this is his assignment. So in that, like I said, I wish I could show y'all my little pretty slides and stuff like that. But this is when it goes to 11. When it gets to 11, let me see if I can get it up here. Okay. So the common theme is what gets in the way. All right, what is going to get in the way is what we're talking about here, in here. And so, like I said, this is Moses and God in Exodus chapter 3. So I'm just going to have to read it because I'm telling you, I got all these. Number one is I'm not qualified. Moses doesn't believe he's qualified. So his first return or conversation to God is, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? Who am I? I'm not qualified. I'm not the guy. Do you ever say that yourself? Like, am I not qualified? I'm not the person itself. And God turned and answered him and said, and verse 12, I will certainly be with you, and this shall be a sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt and shall serve God on this mountain. So when it comes, I'm gonna prove it to you, even on the back end of the story, but he's like, I will be with you. It doesn't matter if you're not qualified. I'm co-signing for you. God is saying you don't have to worry about this. I'm co-signing for you. Okay. So that's number one is I'm not qualified. All right. Number two, I am not knowledgeable. This is what Moses is saying here in verse 13. And then Moses said to God, indeed, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say that, and they say to me, what is his name? What should I say to them? What should I say? What did I do? What should I say? When I go down here and they man, I don't have street cred. So what does that mean to me? God says in verse 14, and God said to Moses, I am who I am. Side note, sidebar. This is the reason why they wanted to stone Christ, is because he used this language that I am God. When that was what they wanted to kill him. It wasn't more as much about him doing the miracles on the Sabbath. It wasn't about all these things. They didn't like all those things, but the fact that he said, I am God, is why they wanted to stone him. So the same thing he says, tell them I am who am is who sent you. And he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. So I don't, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like, look, I am everything. I will fulfill, and I will fill your mouth. I will fill the situation. I will go before you. I will go behind you. I'll go with you. That's what God has given him, this promise. And so in that, this is where it doesn't matter what you don't know. What do you ever think about that? Well, I don't know enough. I haven't studied this. I don't have a degree. I don't, whatever it may be that's in your mind. Okay. Number three, I'm not supported. Okay. Moses says in Exodus 4:1 now, that Moses answered and said, but suppose they would not believe me or listen to my voice. I can't help but to start moving into a whiny voice, is what I'm hearing there. But suppose they would not believe me or listen to my voice. Suppose they say, the Lord has not appeared to you. Basically saying, you lying, boy. You lying. God didn't tell you to come out here. You don't have no street cred. We don't know who you are. Coming all the way to Egypt talking about freeing your people. All right. Um, yeah, that probably wasn't going to be the best opportunity or options there. But of course, Moses did have some track record behind him. Obviously, he was there before. So, but who are you to come against Pharaoh? Who are you to come against the greatest leader in the land? Are you that? Are you that guy? And God is basically saying to you to go say, "I'm him." He's basically telling Moses, "I'm him because I'm in him. I am. I have the great I am in my corner, who is leading the way, who's calling me on this charge." Okay, so I'm not supported. What does that fall for you? Do you feel like you're not supported? Maybe it's family, maybe it's friends, maybe it's spouse, or whatever it may be. The environment itself is not supporting you. You know, the leaders ahead of you may not be supporting you. Okay, so God, and I could read the whole part of it, but I'm just going to give you the part of it where Exodus 4:2-9. And basically God says, look, what's in your hand? And he said, it's a rod. And he tells him the rod, puts a rod down, turns to snake. He's ready to run, come back, grab the tail. So he shows that his power. He's going to go before him with signs, miracles, signs, and wonders are going to go along with you, Moses. He also told him to take his hand and put it inside of your coat. And he comes out, it's got leprosy. He said, put it back in, put it back out, it's healed. So you got a healing power. You see the miracles and signs and wonders with the cane. I mean, see with the rod that he had in his staff in his hand. And then further down, he said, "Look, if they don't believe that, I'm gonna make the water turn into blood. I got you." He's showing all the promises that I'm gonna be with you. You will be supported because I will never leave you or forsake you. It's basically what God is telling Moses in this particular time itself. Number 4, I am not capable. So you can see it much there. It's going to be, oh, it's driving me crazy. I don't have my daggone slides coming up for y'all. But that's right. We'll figure it all out. New technology. So Exodus 4:10, Moses says, then Moses said to the Lord, oh my Lord, I am not eloquent. Oh, I am not eloquent. Neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and of slow tongue. Oh, poor little Mo. He got a little speech impediment. You know, he a little slow. He don't read that fast. Guess what? I ain't the best reader. You see this obviously. It don't matter. It's just do what you got to do. But that's what he's fighting. He's fighting for this. Okay. Then God says, so the Lord said to him, this is in verses 11-12, chapter 4, 11-12 says, so the Lord said to him, who has made man's mouth? Like, bro, I made you. I made your mouth. Okay. Or who makes the mute or the deaf or the seeing or the blind? Have not I the Lord? Now, therefore, go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall say. Like, I got this. I made you. I made everything about you. I made your mouth. I can make people talk, not talk, cause them to be deaf, blind, whatever. If you don't believe me, go ask Paul. Go look up Paul's situation. He can make it happen. So I'm not capable. I have these shortcomings. It may not be speech for you. It may be your past, your labels. What is it that you have that's slowing you down from those particular things? Okay. Um, so I'm not capable. Number 5 is I am not the one. Here's the key to this one. Moses basically says in verse 13, but he said, "Oh my Lord, please send by the hand of whomever else you may send." Basically said, I'm not the one. Send somebody else who's more qualified than me. And of all this time of Moses speaking to God, he was gentle. He was gracious. He was all those things. But when he said, I'm not the one, get someone else. This is God's response in verse 14. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses. This is the first time you see in this whole scenario that God's anger came towards Moses. Why is that? Because of all the things and scenarios that he presented before to God, they may be true. There may have been situations that are in front of him. He presented real things. But when he said that I'm not the one, he was lying to God. He was lying to God of saying, I'm not the one. This was a lie. God knew this, and that's when God's voice went into daddy voice. His anger kindled against him. And let me see if I can get to the scripture there in 14. Da, da, da. I said, I tell you, I had all this stuff laid out for y'all, just like I wanted to. It said, but so the anger of the this is verse 14, chapter Exodus chapter 4, verse 14. So the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, it is not Aaron the Levite your brother? I know that he can speak well. And look, he is also coming out to meet you. When he sees you, he would be glad in his heart. Now you shall speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I will be with your mouth and with his mouth. And I will teach you what to do and what you shall say. So he will be your spokesperson to the people, and he himself shall be as your mouth, and you shall be to him as God. So he sent them out and basically said, look, bro, stop all the whining. I got you. I got you covered. You have a spokesperson. You say you don't have anything. So God is showing him, like, but you're the one. Don't give me this foolishness, because we do it sometimes ourselves. Well, who am I to do this and who am I to do that? Yes, you are the one. You're the one to change your family. You're the one to change everything for generational curses in your life. So looking at these, of course, you can't see it that clear. I'm not qualified. I'm not knowledgeable. I'm not supported. I'm not capable. I'm not the one. So looking at your own situation, where you are right now on this day, if there's some tugging and pulling that God is saying that this is the next step for you, this is what I'm sending you. I'm showing you the call on your life. I'm showing you your duty, your divine appointment, your divine assignment from God. I'm showing this to you. But here's your belief system is what's holding you back. Your limiting belief system, not in what God can do, but in yourself, but on what God can do through you, and he wants to do through you. This is where we get caught up. I'm not qualified. I don't have the degree. I don't have the experience. I don't know enough. I haven't experienced enough. I don't have any clients. I haven't done this yet. We're fighting that. And God is saying, I got you. Step in faith. Walk by faith and not by sight. Have some strength and some boldness to you. Be strong and courageous is what he tells us so many times in there, to step forward in these particular situations. I'm not qualified. You are qualified. What he said, he doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call, right? He's the one that gives you the increase, the change, the abundance, but you have to step in faith and move, take the first move. All right. I'm not knowledgeable. I don't have, I didn't do this. I don't know enough. I didn't read enough books. I didn't go through the regiment that most everyone else did. They all have this type of degree. They have this license, this certification. That does not disqualify you, because God can give you, and you're smarter than you think you are. You have more than you think you are. You just don't add enough value to your expertise. You don't add enough value to your strengths and your callings and your gifts. Those are the things it says that your gift will make room for you, will bring you before great men. So if in order for that to happen, I need to be able to use my gift and not devalue it, as so many of us do. I'm not supported. Yeah, family, friends, they may not get it. Your calling in life is your unique calling. They have their own thing. Don't look for others to agree and to be in agreement with you and support you financially or time, whatever it may be. It's up to you. God is going to do the work. I mean, he's going to provide the opportunity, and he's going to do all the things and lay it out. But you have to do the work. You have to put in the work yourself to make it happen, to see it come into fruition. That's going to be on you. Okay, so don't worry about the support. Don't worry about if you have fans, if you have folks that are cheering for you. None of that matters. Okay, none of that matters. Do it anyway. The outcome and the impact will happen no matter what anyone's, as far as being supportive. The right ones who you call to serve will show up as they need to. Okay. Um, and I'm capable. Like, he was fighting for the fact that I couldn't speak. I couldn't do these things. You look at some of the greatest orators on the planet. They came from, like, speech impediments. They came from situation scenarios. I'm not. I'm not. Whatever the I'm not not enoughness that you have in you. Forget about it. You could always train skills, skill acquisition. How do I practice? How do I keep getting better and perfecting my craft, or learning how to get get past it. You're capable is like your capacity to be able. So there's something that I can learn, I can build, I can grow, I can hire a coach, a mentor, I can buy a course, I can read the books, watch this video, like to be edified and move towards my actual calling itself. So don't worry about your capacity right now. What can you go? What is the capacity that you can grow into? That's what you focus on. It's limitless. You're just scratching the surface right now. So the goal is get the skills, get the understanding, get the wisdom so that you can walk in it in the right way. Okay. And last one we talk about, I'm not the one. Many situations and scenarios we think it's that's for someone else to do. Those people over there, they're the ones to do that. We see it all across the, scripture, so many different places where the person is not believing that they're the one to do it. All right. Christ even asked for another way. He didn't want to go to the cross. He asked his father, if there's another way, take this cup away from me. If there be another way, but not my will, your will be done. And so, how many of the least of these we keep seeing in Joseph and his family? David was the least of his brothers to be selected. So stop looking at your own stature, your experiences, whatever it is that you think it is that disqualify you, but you are the one for your divine assignment, for your divine calling. You're the one. No one on this planet has had your parents, your birthday, your DNA, your experiences, your tests, trials, tragedies, triumphs. No, nobody else has had those. You've had those. All of those things mold you. Everything, all things work for the good of those who are called according to his purpose and love him. Every single thing that you do adds to your capacity, your ability. Your calling itself comes from even the things that went wrong. I teach a whole lot from my mistakes just as much as my triumphs. And that's a part of us. The whole person has that calling. You are the one. You are the one to change the generation of curses for your family. You are the one to be the first, whatever that may be, the first to not be on drugs, the first to graduate, the first to start the business, the first, whatever it may be. You are the one. You are the one that is perfectly equipped to talk to that person over in that corner that no one else can talk to in a manner that your connectiveness to that person is going to be off the charts because you're the one. You're the one. I've heard stories. I remember my dad went to go witness. My dad was, he was a hustler, street hustler, kind of out there in the world. Didn't get saved until he was 48, and he went to go visit a friend of ours' father who was on his deathbed in the hospital, and he accepted Christ from my dad, but he never did from his believing son and believing son-in-law and daughter would not accept from anyone else. But it's the fact that my dad can relate to him because he said, "Man, I just met this gangster that talk real to me." That was different. My dad's experience from being that guy before becoming a minister of the gospel, he was a guy that can relate to this dude and accepted Christ not long before he left this earth. The most beautiful thing. But my dad was the one that had that assignment. Other people don't. And he may have thought he wasn't qualified. Whatever it may be, you step into that destiny. That's my challenge for you today. It's not the limiting beliefs, limiting resources, limiting whatever it may be that you're stopping yourself to go all in, to go hard towards your goals, go hard towards your destiny, your calling. God will provide when you step. Moses didn't know all the outcome. God showed up. He didn't know that the Red Sea was coming. He didn't know that Pharaoh was going to be chasing him. He didn't know all those particular things, but he accepted the assignment, even though he was afraid, even though he was scared. He still accepted the assignment and go. So my charge to you is to not let these destiny destroyers get in your way. You will see it in the Bible. We see it in our lives. I know you see it in the mirror because I see it myself. And I got to continue to fight that battle of the warfare, the battlefield of the mind. And we are destined to win if we submit our lives to Christ and we submit to our calling and step boldly towards that particular calling, and the sky's the limit. So hope this is great for you guys and been helpful. I'm sorry I couldn't get all my slides to work on here. I figured that out. I mean, literally 25 minutes or so to make it happen. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Share it, like it, do all the YouTubey things like that too. And let's continue to grow, learn, and move towards our destiny. God bless. Go hard. Peace.